Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Good evening, my friends. This is Angy Stewart from InnerLight, and we are again live here on Kardec Radio. It's always a pleasure to be able to come here to continue our studies, to continue improving our knowledge of Spiritism. And the book that we study is this one, What is Spiritism? It's a great book. One of the many books that Kardec wrote. People sometimes think Kardec only wrote the 5 books of decodification, and it's not true. There are lots and lots of extra books, and this is one of the examples. So we have been studying this book for quite some time, and our studies are short, only like 20-30 minutes, but it's very deep, and it's a wonderful way to improve our knowledge of Spiritism. And I always say it's good for the ones that don't know anything about Spiritism, because it will give you glimpses of what it is, and with all the explanations of Kardec, it will help you to understand it much better. And for the ones that already know a lot of Spiritism, it's even better, because now you already know. You will know it even deeper. And the way Kardec created it, he created like in a style of conversations with visitors, and he divided in 3 types of visitors. So the first type is that one that does not believe, does not accept, is totally against the Spiritism, and doesn't really want to know much of it. We already finished this. We already studied it. It's excellent. Please take a look at our previous videos, and you will really enjoy how Kardec has conversations with this type of people. Because you don't want to convert anyone, but you would like to help people that genuinely would like to learn. Not the ones that are curious and they want to ask questions just to make fun of it. This is different, and that's exactly what Kardec tries to demonstrate to us. The ones we are studying right now is the second type, is that type that does not know Spiritism and is actually curious, genuinely curious, and would like to know it better. So this is very interesting, the way Kardec explains certain things. So the questions that we are going to be following right now are questions of people that genuinely would like to understand a little bit more about Spiritism. Even if the questions sometimes are like, what? But they are genuinely good questions. So I will share my screen so you guys can read and understand it better. I like to highlight so we don't need to read the whole screen, so we can have a good understanding of what it is. I just want to say hello, Jacqueline. Nice to have you here. Hello, Saul. Long time I haven't seen you here. Nice to see you. How are you? Very good, girls. Let's go. So this chapter is a brief discussion of Spiritism, and this chapter is the opposition of science. So he's talking about the visitor is giving all kinds of ideas why science does not believe. So Kardec is trying to explain this to him. So let's go. So the visitor asks, so the scientists, they are not infallible. In the virtue of their knowledge, their opinion is worth of something. So the question basically is, okay, science is not infallible. They have their problems too, but their opinion is very strong and very important. So we should really pay attention to their opinion. And then Kardec starts, you are only a good judge within your area of competence. If you want to build a house, would you employ a musician? So Kardec is just telling him, yes, science is important. There are all types of science, but depending on what you will be doing, then you have to see who you will be hiring. Because if you want to build a house, you are not going to hire a fantastic musician, because even if he's a fantastic musician, he will not be able to build a house. And then Kardec gives us other examples with the same idea. Like, for example, if you need to file a lawsuit, you are not going to hire a dancer. So yes, we get it. We get what he's saying. And Kardec says, no, you are never going to do that because you know better. So the regular science, they rest upon the properties of matter, which can be manipulated at will. So basically, Kardec is saying regular science, they are exact. They are exact. For example, math, 1 plus 1 is 2. So you cannot say 1 plus 1 is 3 or 2.5 or 275, depending on the weather or depending on what I ate, because this is not gonna happen. It's precise. So the numbers don't lie. I used to have a friend many years ago. I never liked math. Math for me was like a disaster, and she absolutely loved math. And she always said things, numbers don't lie, they are perfect. Like every time I was starting with philosophy, oh, but this, maybe that, and this, and she really didn't like philosophy. She was like, cut this, I like numbers, they are exact. So right there you see our minds were very different. But this is true. Certain sciences, they are strict. Certain things will always happen if the conditions are all there. So that's what Kardec is trying to explain. Yes, these sciences, that it will always happen whenever the conditions are there. We already know that certain chemicals, if you mixture certain chemicals, they will have different reactions depending even the temperature they are being mixed. So it's not just because you are mixing this and that, it will always happen the same. But it depends if this has to be heated and if this has to be frozen, and if it's not, the result will be different. And when we talk about the spirituality, then it's much more complicated. So let's see what Kardec continues. The phenomena of spiritism have their agents intelligent beings endowed with independence and free will, and not subject to our whims. They are not bound by laboratory procedures or calculations, and are not there within the scope of a science per se. So here you already see that Kardec is mentioning the laboratory procedures and the calculations, and he's saying Spiritism is not like that. And when Kardec in that time he was talking about spiritism, he basically was talking about the phenomena of mediumship. Because in that time, people were not really the ones who didn't know spiritism. They were into the mediumship, the phenomena, trying to see spirits, talk to spirits, to check if it was correct, if it existed. So every time Kardec is talking about the spiritist science, he's actually mentioning the mediumship phenomena. So he basically is explaining mediumship, it's not like what you think. It's not like a precise science that you put people together. Even with a medium, you put the medium here and the medium will say, okay, let's talk. And maybe the spirits are not going to communicate. Because as Chico Xavier, a very famous medium from Brazil, is deceased, he used to say the telephone rings from there here, because the spirits are the ones who will communicate with us as their will. Yes, we will be ready, waiting. I am here, I'm a medium. Hello, spirits, talk to me. And if they don't want, or if the conditions are not good, it's not going to happen. So it's much more difficult for the scientific mind to understand, because the phenomena might not happen, and they will immediately say, this is a lie, this is false, this is fake, it does not exist, and it's not right. And then he continues, science was thus mistaken when it wanted to experiment with spirits in the same way it did with voltaic battery. It failed. So what Kardec is saying, the voltaic battery is actually an electric battery. So Kardec is already advising, he's already saying, listen, the spiritist science is not like a testing a battery. Because if you have a battery, if you have two plugs, you can just plug and boom, it will work. Spiritism is not like that. Depends in a lot of things. And when the scientists, they tried to perform an experiment and it did not work, it failed. And they immediately said, no, this is fake, it does not work, it is a lie. And Kardec is saying, no, it is not. And then he continues, the scientific community cannot and never will be able to make a statement on this issue. It is much outside of their area of competence, as it is for them to say whether or not God exists. So he's saying, listen, the scientists will never be able to give a full and correct opinion on this, because even the scientists, even the brightest scientists of all, they are not able to know everything. That's why science is a constant work. The scientific mind, they have to be constantly researching to discover new things. And as Kardec points, even the scientists, they don't know all. Imagine about what God can give to us. They don't know everything. And God is constantly creating. And science is constantly discovering new things. So he continues. Today, believers are the ones who are being called mad. Tomorrow, it will be the turn of those who do not believe, just as those who believe the earth spun on its axis used to be called crazy. So we know in the past that when the scientists used to tell the earth is round, already had the theory the earth was flat. No, the earth is round. So all those scientists, they already had a lot of problems. Imagine the other ones who said it's round and it turns around itself. They're like, what? That's crazy. It never will do that. So this is just one little thing for us to think about, because later on it was proven to be right. Yes, it is right. And Earth turns around the sun, not the contrary, as a lot of scientists thought. So let's continue talking about other science. So Newton. If Newton had disregarded the fall of an apple, if Galvani had dismissed his servant as a lunatic and dreamer when he told him about the frogs that danced on the plate, perhaps we still would not have discovered the wonderful law of universal gravity and the numerous properties of electric battery. The phenomena sarcastically labeled as dance of the tables is no more ridiculous than the dance of the frogs. And it too perhaps contain one of those secrets of nature that will revolutionize humankind once it is possessed the key. So when we all know about the Newton and the apple that fall on his head, and he discovered the theory of gravity. But few people know about Galvani. So Galvani is another scientist, is another philosopher. He's so many things. And he is the one who discovered this amazing theory of the electrical battery. And it was by a chance. As we know, nothing is by a chance. Certain things had to happen to give like that sparkle. And I got this information here, so hope you guys can read. So Luigi Galvani, so here we have that he discovered the effects of electricity on muscle tissue. So imagine electricity in muscle tissue in the 1780s and 1790s. And it was actually his assistants that have accidentally touched the scalpel to the sciatic nerve of the frog, and this resulted in a spark of animation of its legs. So that's why it was called the dancing of the legs. So if you read some more material, or even if you see some videos, you will see the frogs. Some of them were cut in half. They only had like the stomach area and the legs, and the legs were like dancing. But as everything, his theory was not fully accepted. And he faced lots of other issues, lots of political issues too. And if you go to his Wikipedia page, let me show you. This is Galvani's Wikipedia page. If you go to his death and legacy, you will see here some very, very sad news. So here it talks that Galvani, who disagreed with social and political confusion, refused to swear loyalty along with other colleagues because he was living in a French occupation area in the northern Italy. And there he refused to fully accept whatever they were doing. So this led to the new authority depriving him of his academic and public positions, which took every financial support away. And then look how sad. Galvani died peacefully surrounded by his mother and father in his brother's house, but he was depressed and in poverty. So, as you can see, a brilliant mind as Galvani, that he discovered so many things because of political issues. He also had all his titles removed, and he couldn't even have funds to continue his research in whatever he was doing. So this was very sad that he ended up dying in poverty. And then we go back to Spiritism. And Kardec is mentioning here, if in that time people could not accept Galvani's theories, the dance of the frogs was really like a joke until they fully were able to discover it in the future, how it worked. Imagine the dance of the tables. It is also going to be ridiculous because they still, scientific people, the scientific researchers, they still do not have all the knowledge they need to fully understand it. So this is one of the things that are very, very important for us to see. Let me see where I should be. I don't know if it's up or down. Oh, here. So the last portion is, so let's guard against denying the possibility of what we do not understand, dreading to be proven wrong sooner or later, which would not be flattering to our judiciousness. So this is what the Kardec is trying to tell us. He's trying to tell us, let's take it easy. Let's not be judging. Let's not be labeling something as wrong, as a lie, because we just could not discover enough tools to have this proven right now. And exactly as he said, the dancing frogs could be also the dancing tables. And the people who were making fun of the dancing frogs, later on, they saw that this was actually possible. And the same thing will be with a mediumship. People are not just gonna believe the spirits exist, but they will understand the existence, and they will understand how to communicate with them. So this is very important for us to fully understand, so we can actually explain to people that really would like to have an understanding why science cannot fully accept the spiritist philosophy at this moment. My friends, is 5 to 9. We have another program that starts in 5 minutes, and I hope you can join us there. We are going to do the God at Home, short meditation, and a irradiation to all our friends, family who are not feeling very well at this moment, and even for ourselves. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in a few minutes. Bye bye.